Hi guys, welcome back to Nyx Reads. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to subscribe if you love watching bookish content like I do. Let's talk about all the books that I read in the month of July and August. I'm gonna start with the book that I rated the least amount of stars with, and we'll end it with my 5-star read. And I'm also bringing back the element of telling you how much money I saved by using my library card. So if you want to know how many dollars stayed in my pocket, then stick to the end of the video. Let's start with The Mystery Writer by Sulari Gentill. I unfortunately only gave this a 2-star rating. Didn't really like it. So this is the second mystery novel that I'm reading by this author. The first one, I think I also only gave a 3-star rating. It was The Woman in the Library. I don't think I'm gonna pick up anything else by this author. I think 2 books are, I think, a good chance to give to someone. In short, this is about our female main character, Theodosia Benton. She's a young woman aspiring to be a writer, so she starts visiting this coffee shop where she sits and writes, and in there she meets another writer who is actually pretty famous. She also starts to fall in love with him. They form this very interesting connection, but she finds him dead shortly after. Not only does she lose someone she really likes, she also becomes a suspect in the murder investigation, and there's people who seem to have her on their hit list as well. She gets mixed up in that and with a bunch of people who believe in conspiracy theories. This is a fairly short book. It's like 300 pages, but after 100 pages, I was so close to DNFing this book. So I did finish it, but to be honest, I was just skimming through the pages. I wasn't even reading every sentence anymore because I just wanted it to be over. The writing was a bit clumsy because it was more telling rather than showing. I also couldn't really engage or feel connected to the characters because of the writing. I did not care about what was happening to our main character at all. The mystery in itself was also nothing that I really was interested in because I think it was trying to do too much. You had some elements of police procedural in there. You had like some more adventurous elements in there because our main character is basically running from unknown people who are trying to attack her and the people around her. But then you also have this thing with the conspiracy theory. It's quite a lot in this short book, and yeah, just didn't love it. I'm sorry, this is not for me. I hope there are other people out there who actually really like this, but I cannot recommend this book. Next up with 2.75 stars is Pineapple Street by Jenny Jackson. This was a buddy read with Camilla from Hastia Books, which was so much fun. I definitely enjoyed picking this book apart with her. This is a book about rich people in New York City doing rich people things. I picked this up on a whim at a book sale because on the back of the book, it had a blurb by Kevin Kwan right at the top, who wrote Crazy Rich Asians. Love that movie, love the books. Where he says, "Truly the smartest and most deliciously fun novel I read in ages." I think this quote and my expectation because of reading that set me up for failure, because I don't think this is a witty, fun, or deliciously wicked novel at all. It's kind of bland. In the center of the story is the Stockton family, where we have 3 siblings who are adults. The youngest is in her mid-20s, and all of them kind of have their own problems. I mean, I say problems, but they're all literal trust fund babies. So the eldest is a woman who basically got married for love and said, okay, I don't need my inheritance. Then we have the middle child, I'm forgetting his name, but he married a woman who does not come from money. And so we follow the wife Sasha's point of view in some of the chapters, and she's really, really struggling to fit in. And then we have Georgiana, who is kind of a party girl, just, you know, trying to find love in the city. Let's start with the positives. This book helped me out of a reading slump. I had so much fun just picking this book back up. This is something that I wanted to read because the writing was just so easy, it flowed. Something that, you know, before you know it, you read another 40 pages. So it was fun for that. Very quick read. What I didn't really like about this book is that I'm not understanding what the point of this novel is. What is the message that the author is trying to convey here? Is the message that incredibly wealthy people protect themselves, stay within their circles, and they will stay rich forever? Each of the 3 siblings does have a character arc, but it is not written very well. So for example, Georgiana, the youngest, who's the one who's, you know, questioning what to do with all this money. Her story arc felt a bit rushed. It also came with a very dramatic twist that I didn't see coming, which is completely tonally off from the rest that is happening in the story. And then the other members of the family make minimal changes in how they view the world and, you know, how they live their everyday life. Basically, I'm not sure if the author is just truly trying to portray how these people live and that's it, or she did want to try to give these characters you know, a development and a character arc, but maybe she just failed. I'm really not sure what the author is trying to do. Maybe she was just trying to show us how horrible these people are, or for example how horrible Sasha's husband is by never ever having her back and always being on the side of his family. Like, that guy was a walking red flag. This book left me with a lot of question marks, but then I read that author Jenny Jackson is a vice president and executive editor at Knopf Doubleday. To me, that answers the question of how come a mediocre book like this made it to so many prominent book clubs. I think this was a Good Morning America book club pick or something. And it was also featured on the, I think, list of best fiction on Goodreads, which, this is all very subjective, this is my opinion, but I don't think it deserved that much attention. And also, I believe this author belongs to that milieu of New Yorkers, so maybe she was just describing, you know, what she was seeing growing up. I cannot recommend. Next up, we're jumping to a book that I gave 4 stars to. Maybe it deserves even 4.5 now that I think about it. I liked it a lot. It's Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokarczuk. This is a translated work of fiction by the Polish author who won the Nobel Prize for Literature. This is an atmospheric novel that takes place in a remote Polish village. Our main character is a woman named Janina who takes care of a lot of the houses around. She spends her winter days studying astrology and giving English classes at the school until one day her neighbor turns up dead, dying of very mysterious circumstances, and that kind of sets off this amateur sleuth investigation. She develops her own theory of what happened. It just seems a bit out there. She is trying to explain this to the police, but people tend to not believe her. The story opens a lot of very important conversations. Some of them are how elderly women are kind of dismissed in society and not being taken seriously and just brushed aside. This is something that she experiences while trying to communicate with, you know, the other people from the village and with the police. Very important to this book is also the topic of animal cruelty. The book takes a very interesting stance and it really invites the reader to form an opinion on this topic. I also really loved the aspect of having a maybe unreliable narrator, because it is mentioned right from the beginning, this is not a spoiler, that Janina is in a lot of pain, so she takes a lot of different medications that kind of make her a bit fuzzy. Like, this whole story is quite ambiguous, and I think that goes hand in hand with this, like, in my opinion, very wintry setting. I think this is a great book to read in the winter, even though this book takes place, I think, throughout an entire year. Yeah, the atmosphere that this book builds is really around more the cold months and the snow and kind of like nature against humans, because the winter is so hard that it basically just eats up this village, and it's so hard to maintain a house in this weather. I had a great time reading this. It is quite dark, and I also had a fantastic time discussing this book with other people. The reason why I couldn't give this quite 5 stars, even though I loved it so much, is because there's a lot of intertextuality in this book. So this book references James Blake a lot, and as someone who has never read James Blake, I don't really know anything about this poet, I think American poet. I kind of had a hard time connecting with those parts. So for example, the headlines of each chapter I believe are epigraphs of James Blake, but that doesn't really tell me anything. So I just felt like I'm missing a big part in this book because I don't know those poems. And then the other part is Janina really enjoys astrology. It is her North Star. She questions religion, but to her astrology you know, is what anchors her universe. There's quite a lot of that, and just me personally, I'm not really into astrology or horoscopes, so again, I had a hard time connecting with all of those chapters because we go into quite a lot of details. I really like this, and I really liked the turn that this book takes. I think the way that this book ends is quite controversial. Once you read it, you will know what I'm talking about. But I really liked it. Also just a great book club pick because there's so many things to discuss. My 5-star read for the summer was Here One Moment by Liane Moriarty. I love Liane Moriarty's writing. She has this magical way of taking mundane, everyday moments and, you know, relationships that all of us have in one way or the other, be it romantic, with siblings, with friends, with parents, and she turns those relationships into relatable moments in her books, but at the same time peppering so much intensity in it. There's just no other author that I know that can make normal relationships turn and conversations between people turn into page-turnery moments. This is a pretty thick book. It's, I think, 500 pages, and I could have read more. I also read it super fast. That'll tell you how much I liked it. So I picked this up on a plane, not knowing what it is about. But it is about a woman, I think in her 60s, who is taking a short plane ride within Australia. And at some point during the flight, she gets up and goes to every single person in her aisle and tells them when they will die and how they will die. The plane obviously erupts in chaos, and then we basically follow the entire aftermath. People don't know what's happening. It's like she's having this episode. For some people, she tells them you're gonna die at the age of 99, old age symptoms, whatever it may be. But then she goes to some people and tells them that they basically have less than a year to live. So it gets really upsetting. In the aftermath of this plane ride, we're switching in the chapters back and forth between learning something about the psychics, I think her name is Sherry's past, and then we also look at the passengers' lives because all of them take it in a very different way. You know, some people, they think it's a joke, they don't really do anything about it, and then some people get obsessed with it and try to prevent it as much as they can. It gets real once somebody actually dies the way that this woman had predicted, and that's when people start getting stressed. But the real heart of this story is not us trying to figure out, you know, why Sherry did that or how she did it. It's not even necessarily the endings of each of these passengers' lives. It's really about everything in between. How do they manage this? How do they communicate this to their families, to their partners? Are they actually going to change something about their lives? Because, you know, if you learned today how you're going to go and when, what would you do? This was such an interesting and emotional exploration of all of the what ifs in life, and I really loved it. Lastly, I have a short story that I didn't rate at all. Maybe I should have started with this. It's The Strange Library by Haruki Murakami. This is the German version that a friend of mine lent me to read. The reason I didn't rate this is because I don't really have anything to say about this book. Neither bad or good. I just thought that this is too short for me to form any kind of opinion on Murakami's writing or the story. I've never read anything by this author before, and I was kind of hoping that reading a short story will prompt me to either say, okay, this is not for me, or hey, I really love this writing, I want to read more, which is what happened to me at the beginning of the year when I read a short story by Annie Ernaux. I right away picked up a full-length novel because I just wanted more. I don't want to give too much away because it's so short, but this is basically about a young boy who goes into a library and doesn't really come out. Or he comes out with great difficulty. This is essentially a fever dream. Strange things, fantastical things happen in this library. It was interesting, but there's nothing in here that blew me away. So I guess I'll just have to read a full-size novel and see how I feel about Murakami. So those were all of the books that I read in July and August. By using the library, I saved $63.99. So if you don't have a library card yet, go check in your city if you can sign up for free. Please let me know in the comments down below what your favorite book of July and August was. And if you just want to let me know that you're still here, why don't you leave me a bird emoji? Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.